Welcome to a special edition of the First Responder Wellness Podcast. My name is Conrad Weaver. Thanks for joining us today. Today, I will be sharing a very special interview I did recently with Matty Fiorenza. Matty is an Anaheim firefighter who's now retired, and he appeared in my film PTSD 911. He was one of the main characters that we showcased in this film and shared his story and journey to wellness and his journey through PTSD and the ramifications of that. And he graciously sat down with me recently in his home out in California to give us an update on where he is today, what he's doing, and how he is doing, and what he's been up to. So the podcast sounds and looks a little bit different than our usual podcast does, because we were recording there in his home. So you hear some background noise, you hear some different things that you normally don't hear on this show. So please excuse that. But take a listen. Here is my conversation with Matty Fiorenza. Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you too. Out here in your stomping grounds.
Yeah. Good old Huntington Beach.
Yeah. Just spent a couple of days in Las Vegas at the EMS World Expo and thought I'd come out here and bug this guy for a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you never
do a quick
family, buddy. Your
well,
family.
yeah, I know. So are you.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get a quick update. And so welcome to a special edition of the First Responder Wellness Podcast. So here with my good friend, Matty. Matty, how you been?
I'm good. Really good.
Yeah.
Things are busy, but they're good busy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I'm doing a lot of work in a lot of different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of on the preventative side with Dr. Gina Gallivan
Mm-hmm.
and Associates,
Yep.
and then doing stuff on the acute side as well.
Mm-hmm.
Working at some treatment centers, just boots on the ground, hanging
Yeah.
out with the guys, and that's been great. But I think the biggest thing that I like to share is the nonprofit.
Yeah. I want to get into that in just a minute, but I want to back up a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. The PTSD 911 documentary came out in
Mm-hmm.
November of 22. We were all together in Texas, and then we were together in Wisconsin, right, for an event.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's been going on in your life since then?
All kinds of good things, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, since the film, you know, I'm medically retired. That stuff's all done.
Mm. That was a process, right?
Yeah, it's a real long process, and that was a huge relief. And from there, you know, I started doing some back in the space, doing the work, you know, like I said, with Dr. Gina Gallivan, doing preventative stuff, and just working on my own recovery, which has been great. Like,
What's that look like?
oh man, it's pretty solid right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty solid. So I have a daily practice every morning. I get up, I roll out of bed, I read my devotional, I have my knees, I say my prayers, make my set of the bed. I come out here and do a little meditation. I go to a 12-step meeting, and that's how I start most every day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most every day. I mean,
And that keeps you grounded and focused on what you need to focus on.
exactly. And that just comes number one, you know, my relationship with God and connecting with him every single day is a must.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a must. And you know, that's all going really well. That's all, you know, really, really well. So, you know, I'm trying to get more involved in doing service work, you know.
Mm-hmm. You've done some speaking work around the country.
I've been back on the speaking circuit. You know, the film, it helped a lot with me getting different organizations, you know, outside of California to hire me to come out and speak, which has been great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we did one in
Maryland, yep.
which was awesome, which I love doing. You know, I really love getting out there and meeting folks from other places. But yeah, that's been great. Speaking, writing a lot of my own focused curriculum on different specific topics.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got a few contracts here with a couple fire departments. So working with their peer support teams and kind of just with everything I have and all the resources I had and everything I've learned in refining, what they need and being a liaison between them and their fire chief. And so I've worked with the City of Ontario Fire, which has been great. They've been so good. And yeah, that's the gift of, my connection with God and where the film kind of took me. Also, we have a new baby. Jordan's here.
Yeah. She's what, 18 months old?
18 months old, yeah. And that's been a totally different experience.
That's the piece of the story we did not put in the film because it involves a procedure.
Right.
Want to explain about that?
Yeah. So my wife and I flew out to Chicago to have what they call the Stella ganglion block from the Stella centers. We flew to Chicago and had this done. My wife and I both had it done, and we were on birth control for 10 years. And we thought if it happened, great. If it doesn't, great. And we just weren't using any kind of protection. And in Chicago, we conceived Jordan
after the
Stella treatment. And they were doing it for pain. They've been doing it in the military for a long time. We had it done for hypervigilance and the effects of PTSD on your nervous system. And the doctors think it settled our nervous systems down enough to conceive. So, so we have little Jordan now, and she's amazing. She's like really healed a lot of areas of our life that needed to be healing, especially not just with our family, but with an extended family. She's really brought us all together, and now now I have a little girl, the 3 boys and a little girl, and it's I'm retired and I'm home and I'm with her every night and I'm not missing anything, and I get to see all her milestones, and I'm a sober dad and father and husband, and most all my symptoms from PTSD are gone. Yeah, I have a few things that come up every once in a while, but not only do I do 12-step work, I work very multiple times a month with my therapist. I talk to her all the time. We have a pretty good relationship, so I get probably extra therapy, and that's been really helpful. I think seeing the film as many times as I've seen it, and my therapist was there the first couple times that we saw it, and it's good exposure therapy. I'm doing EMDR. I'm doing I did some TMS as well, magnetic stimulation.
Okay.
I'm on a couple medications I've weaned off a bunch, and I'm on a few now, and that's helped level me out. So
I want to go back to that comment about seeing the film. Tell me about that because there's places in the film where you were really activated.
Yeah.
Looking back at that now, and what was that process like for you to not only be in the film, but then to see yourself on the screen going through that activation period? Yeah.
I flew to Chicago. It makes me grateful. When I see it now, I just really sit in a place of gratitude, because looking at myself, having a panic attack, which I haven't had in a very long time. I just feel really grateful that all the work that I'm putting in is working, and that there is life on the other side of this stuff if you put the work in. Yeah. You don't have to live like that, but I feel bad for that guy. You know what I mean? I really do. I feel for him because he's in it. He's in it and doing the best he can.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot and listening to podcasts about, wanting to accomplish something great, wanting to get through things, but it's the little incremental things that you got to be consistent at. Right. What was that for you that got you to where you are today? Those incremental things that you had to be consistent at.
Yeah. And really it just started with getting up every morning and having a certain routine that's where it starts. And like I said, I get up, I grab my phone, I read my devotional, I take my medication, I roll out of bed, I get on my knees and pray. I just do those little things I do every day. And then, I started to get back in service and help, now I'm sponsoring other guys. Gratitude, I do gratitude lists, journal, and now I'm putting together groups for the guys to do at the treatment center. And so
but the changes didn't happen overnight.
No. It starts with those very little, making your bed, saying your prayers, just connecting with higher power. I really do think that's glossed over a lot. I know you and I talk about it a lot. I just, when I go speak now, before I was very reluctant to share my faith when I speak. And I tell people now, like, listen, if I didn't mention this part and how big it is, I'd be doing you all disservice.
Yeah.
Because you can, in my experience and my experience in watching other people heal, you could do all the meditation in the world. You could, do all these treatments. You can be on all kinds of medication. There's still a part of your soul that is wounded and missing God.
Yeah.
And that's been huge. Yeah. I love my faith. I love my church. I started to read the Bible at night before I go to bed and meditate on the word. And I'm watching it come to life. Like I'm really changing on the inside because of this faith that I have. And this really, that's really made like that's made all the difference. Yeah. So if I don't tell that
today we went to church today and one of the pastor was speaking and he was talking about trying to change behavior.
Yep.
Without having an internal change, without having that. Talk through that. What was that like for you?
I could do all these mechanical things to try and get well, to try to change my, my behaviors. But until I let that spirit in me, to change me, it's futile if you don't. Yeah. And that's been my experience. Like I was a gnarly drug addict, and I don't have any cravings to use drugs. I don't look at pornography. I don't, the things that like, I just didn't think were a big deal now. And it's not like I just stopped doing that stuff. Like, oh, this says that I can't do that, so I'm not going to do it. It's like, I really in my heart don't want to, I don't want to. And, it's, behaviors are, they're hard to change without a spiritual connection.
Yeah. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it definitely makes that process probably faster than if you just try to muscle your way through the behavior change.
It can happen in a second.
Yeah.
God can change things in a second, and he obviously did for me 100%. And I like to,
And I have to tell you that when you called me that one day and said, "Hey, Moose and I are getting baptized in a couple of weeks," you don't know what that did for me.
Yeah.
I was so excited. That's why I said, "Man, make sure you get some footage because I want to put that in the movie."
Right.
That was just
never forget that day.
That was a pretty special call. I got.
And it, like, I think about my faith journeys just even from that point to now.
Sure.
It's just every day is more spiritual growth, and I see the way God's working in other people's lives, and for me, what it comes down to is all the work that I do out in the first responder community. If I can get them into the doors of the church, that's the ultimate goal for me. And I've seen, I've brought guys and they've stuck around, and I've watched their lives change, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So, and you kind of alluded to this earlier.
It starts with those very
big.
Yeah. I mean, since we're on the subject of God, through all my experiences, that I actually made it out alive, it's really all God. And I took each situation that I was, that I went through as a learning experience. I started to look at my perception changed as well. And I was like, okay, I went through a work comp process. I went through PTSD symptoms, but I was able to do this, and then this showed up, and I was able to do this, and these people showed up for me, and this nonprofit and that nonprofit. And so God gave me a word. It was Matthew 11:28. Bring to me all you heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. And I thought, it touched me, and he gave me that word a long time ago. And I've been kind of spinning my wheels, trying to see where my place is in all this. I know I have a platform. I know I have a voice for a lot of, first responders as an advocate. And so, so I thought, you know what, about a year and a half ago, I went in and I did all the paperwork, but there's a part of me that didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel prepared. I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. And during an intermission between jobs, cause I'm doing a bunch of different stuff to pay the bills. I just heard God say, "Are you ready to do what I asked you to do?" And I stepped out in faith. And, so I got everything done for the First Responder Peace and Refuge Foundation. And that is divinely inspired from that word that I got, because that's all I was looking for, was some peace inside my soul. And I know that that God is my refuge, so it was just perfect. And so we built a website. The website's coming up. We partnered with Stella. And a couple other different modalities of treatment that aren't really covered by insurance, and I've been in that game too. And so, like I said, from my own experience, I know where the gaps are, and we're not going to change the system, not today. It's a goal to change the way that guys are presented help and different preventative type things, but we're not going to change. It's an animal, it's a machine, and we're not going to change it, but we know where to stand in the gaps with the guys. So the nonprofit First Responder Peace and Refuge Foundation is up and going. And I have a really amazing group of people that have been in the behavioral health space for a long time. Dr. Gina Gallivan, Gabe Lira, and, some really, good people, some wellness coordinators that have worked in Southern California and really know what they're doing. And so, I'm really excited about it. I think this is going to be really big. There's all kinds of veteran nonprofits out there, and there's a lot of help for veterans, and there should be. Sure. Absolutely 100%. Yep. But I really want to be the nonprofit for the first responders. I don't want to be, there's the Gary Sinise, which is great. And it's a veteran organization, but they help first responders. Sure. And then there's this organization, but they help first responders. We want to be the first responder organization that can help first respond, not only for the first responder, but their family as well. With all the connections I've made over the years and all the different, we're not going to reinvent the wheel on providing some kind of treatment or some, I've come across a lot of good people doing a lot of good things. So I just want to be able to be relieve the financial barrier.
That was my question. So how are you going to help the first responders who come to you?
It'll be through financial help. Yeah. Like I said, there's, I want to help. There's a couple other nonprofits out there that are first responder only, that are friends of mine that I want to partner with. I want to, in my experience, some of the modalities of help for first responders out there, they're for profit, and it can be very competitive and it gets ugly. In the nonprofit space, there's no competition. We're all rowing the same canoe. And I want to lift up some of my brothers and sisters that have nonprofits out there. To mention one of them, Next Rung, Charlie Brown and Blake Stinnett. I want to partner with those guys. I want to lift them up. Open Water is another one here they're at the Newport Beach Aquatic Center. I want to take some of these with me, and we're just going to go out there and work together to raise money to offer these, financial assistance, essentially, right? Sure. And there's good people out there doing good work already, so we're just going to support those people by sending them people and helping to pay their way.
So how are you going to pay for all this?
With the gracious donations of those folks out there that, I got this. There she is.
She is.
I got this from Daisy. She always says this. She's one of the founders of Working Dogs for Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
She says, where God leads, God provides.
Yeah.
So I have a peace inside that I know that there's a lot of people that support first responders out there, and they just don't know what we go through, you know, and I just know that God's going to put me in the presence of those people, and they're going to write checks, and we'll be able to steward that money well.
Yeah. So quickly, where can people go now to learn more?
It's FRPRfoundation.com. And we have a FRPR Foundation on Instagram, Facebook, and we have a Pinterest. There's a couple of things. That's the baby.
That's the baby.
I'm gonna go get her.
And on that note. Well, Matty, thank you so much for sitting down with me and having this conversation. So glad to see you doing well and helping others. And if you, the listener, the viewer, would like to check out his website and learn more about what he is doing, please be sure to check out the FRPR Foundation and check out his information and support the work that he's doing. It's going to all go to help first responders who are suffering from PTSD. And so if you can make a contribution there on their website, that would be great. I put a link in the show notes so you can access that information. And if the link's not quite working yet, just check back in a few days. I know that he is still working on some things to update it and to launch the website. So keep checking back, and you can follow them also on all the socials, and I'll put those links in the show notes. In the meantime, if you have not seen the PTSD 911 documentary and want to know what Matty's story is all about, there's two ways to purchase the film. First, for individual or home use, you can purchase it on Amazon, amazon.com. Just search PTSD 911 movie. You'll find it there. And if you are a first responder agency and you would like to purchase it for use, for training, for within your department, you can do that at ptsd911movie.com/toolkit. ptsd911movie.com/toolkit. You can order it for your agency, and not only will you get the PTSD 911 film, you'll get another documentary called Risk Lock, and you'll get additional content that was not included in the film, including really important interviews and significant interviews that will help your agency develop a culture of wellness within your department. So I encourage you to go to our website, ptsd911movie.com/toolkit, order the film for your agency, use it in your academies, use it in your training sessions, for your peer support team, for all your people, all your members of your team, for training, to help them and encourage your team to move their lives toward wellness. That's what we're all about here on the First Responder Wellness Podcast. We want to help you develop tools to be able to live a life of wellness, to thrive and prosper, so that you can go your whole career without having to cut it short, and to really deal with the things that you guys see every single day. And that's my mission. That's my mission, is to help you, to provide resources. I'm not the expert. I bring the expert to the table and to the microphone. And so that's my mission, is to help you prosper and thrive, to live well. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do so on whatever platform you listen or watch, whether it's YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or some other platform that you perhaps get this information from. Please subscribe. And if you could leave a review, that would really help us a lot. Reviews help move the podcast to another audience, to a bigger audience. So if you would leave a review, that would be very helpful. On Apple Podcasts, there's a link to where you can leave a review, also on Spotify, and it also helps on YouTube if you leave a review. It just shares with the audience that if this content was beneficial to you, it enables others to access the content as well. So thanks again for listening. Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune again next week for a brand new interview with an amazing first responder leader. And in the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and go out and do something great in the world.